playing with an injury to his other hand that every other player I've ever been associated with would have had surgery already and shut themselves down. And he's a player that wanted to be available to his teammates so badly that he played through an injury that, quite frankly, nobody else would have played through. And what reward he got for that was injuring the other hand in a way that didn't need to happen at all. And in order for him to even bring it to our attention, it would have taken something akin to getting hit by a truck. And for him to bring it to our attention, I'm grateful that we found it and we could avoid any serious injury. But with that, I'll take any questions you have.
Hey, Griff, with the injury to Zion's left ring finger, when did it occur? When did he raise attention to you guys that it was hurting him?
He brought it to our attention prior to our departure that he was still experiencing soreness in the hand. Aaron Nelson and his team sort of rallied to make sure that we got the imaging necessary. I'm very grateful that Oshner was able to get him through the process and the timing that they did to reveal the injury. I believe he probably suffered the injury over a period of time. It's a striking injury, and it's a blunt force injury. So he was being beaten on the hand over and over and over again. So for me to tell you one time, I don't think I can do that. I don't think he knows one time.
Hey, what's up, Griff? This is Will. How much has this dialogue been ongoing with the league? And we can sense the frustration with you. I guess what's their message been to the team as far as how he's been officiated?
So it's been ongoing throughout the year. I've had multiple conversations with multiple individuals that run the officials, individuals that run basketball operations. We've sent in film. So throughout the year, it's been an ongoing situation. Coach has actually had his staff sending in clips as well in an effort to protect Zion throughout this time. So it's been an ongoing effort. And again, I want to be clear, Will, and I appreciate the question. We failed. We did not protect him appropriately. We did not make the message clear enough because this was avoidable.
Hey, Griff, it's Andrew. I know you said it's hard to kind of pinpoint an exact issue, but I do remember him coming out in that last game. He subbed himself out. I think it was in the second quarter. Comes back to play. Do you think that might have been, for lack of a better term, the breaking point of when it happened, or is it something that just...
Again, in fairness, Andrew, I can't say that. I don't think he could say that. It's an accumulation of a ridiculous amount of contact that players were making him aware they were doing on purpose.
Griff, one of the things that Stan has talked about all year is guys who play the game the right way, who don't flop and fall down, they don't seem to be getting rewarded, and the guys who do flop aren't getting rewarded. How frustrating is that from y'all's perspective that seems to be the case?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I think we have a problem as a league right now, and I think the league, to their credit, is aware of it relative to the imbalance in terms of the way the game's officiated. There's an enormous advantage for the offensive players that do a particularly good job of drawing attention to their contact. Unfortunately, the way you do that is in an abnormal way. You do that through unnatural acts. Again, guys, I'm sure you can sense how upset I am. Zion does not have a technical foul all year. He was doing exactly what he was taught to do in terms of honoring the league's rules around decorum. He was respectful to officials. He was having conversations with officials using the language that the head of officiating told him to use. Brandon Ingram has met with the same director of officiating and had the same conversation, and Brandon continued not to get calls. People will tell you that it's a youth thing. They will tell you that it's a reputation thing. It's asinine is what it is. And when kids are getting attacked in the way they are, and in particular Zion was, this type of thing is going to happen. And I feel to some degree there is an I told you so element of what I'm saying to you right now. But yeah, you're right. If you flop, you tend to get more calls.
Yeah, you mentioned, the effort you guys had all season sending in the film, having discussions with the league. I mean, it's not like Zion's going to get any less physical. So, what do you guys have to do at this point to kind of get the league, on the same page where you can feel like he's starting to get the calls he should get?
So in non-COVID times, one of the things we do is we were able to, when Brandon first got here, Brandon was able to, he was playing at the time, he was able to visit with Monty McCutcheon and Kiki Vandeweghe in the league office. They were able to sit together and watch film. Brandon was able to walk through specific instances where contact was more severe than was being called. And the league listened to that, and I think for a period we had some success in getting a better whistle there. So in a non-COVID time, one thing we'd certainly do is facilitate getting everyone together in the same room. I think there's a total lack of understanding of what it looks like, and I've heard officials say this to Stan. Look, the kid's a beast. He just brings about a bunch of contact. Okay, well, that doesn't have anything to do with what you're supposed to be calling. And I almost feel like they didn't know how to deal with someone so sudden and so strong. And so they sort of threw their hands up in the air. So I hope this is a signal that that's not what can happen. And we're going to have very real dialogue moving forward where we come to some understanding of what constitutes flagrant contact. And Brandon Ingram's been ejected from games for less contact than Zion gets on a repeated basis in the paint.
Griff, was the non-call against Denver a tipping point for you?
I don't think it was a tipping point other than the fact that it was as visible as anything could be, that it was an incorrect call and they knew it. But in that particular play, Ed, you're talking about a play where Brandon Ingram was ejected from a game for a play on Roby from Oklahoma City, where he allegedly had a wind-up, contact, and follow-through on the play. And the player went to the free throw line laughing and told Brandon that he hit him in the hair. And in that particular situation, you had wind-up, contact, and follow-through, and there wasn't even a foul called, let alone a flagrant or an ejection. So I cannot remedy that in any way or make that make sense, Ed.
Hey, Griff, two quick ones for me. You mentioned the other hand injury. Does that go back to when he missed a few games, I guess a few weeks ago, about a month ago with the right thumb? And then the second one is, I know you guys put in the release, he's out definitely in treatment plan. Is surgery an option? Is that something that is still being talked through at this point while you guys try to figure out what's next?
I won't get into any of that. We got a lot of work to do before we can have that conversation. You've seen him playing with tape on his hand, on the opposite hand. And the fact that he's able to do it is just really a tribute to his toughness, quite frankly.
Hey, David, this is Fletcher Mackel. You talked about how Zion has handled himself. Do you all have discussions with him or internally about maybe handling himself in a different way? I know you said he's handled it as a young player in a respectful way and done things the right way. Does he have to do things